quietly. A 10-game homestand begins with a late scratch and puts Ross Ohlendorf on the spot against the Phillies.
Washington Nationals baseball. Washington Nationals baseball.
Well, the Nats come roaring back home, and there are a lot of folks walking up to catch this one as we get the final homestand of the season underway. The Phillies are 11 games under. The Nats a season-high 8 games over, riding a 6-game winning streak, and just a ball club bursting with confidence right now. You hope nothing bursts that bubble, but Steven Strasburg not able to pitch tonight. It's a blow, and hopefully Ross Ohlendorf keeps doing what he's been doing all year with Tanner Roark picking up this pitching staff.
Well, anytime Steven Strasburg shut down for whatever reason, it's news, and you always want your ace on the mound. But I feel like this would have been a bigger story in July with the way the offense was going then. But the way they've been swinging the bats lately, you just hope they can pick up Ross Ohlendorf tonight, who's undefeated, just like Tanner Roark. So keep that ball rolling, and it's up to Ross Ohlendorf to keep him right where they are.
Yeah, big role for the big windup tonight. He's 3-0. He's made some starts. He's worked out of the bullpen, and it's interesting how versatile he is at this stage of his career. I think this is a guy who got a second life to make it to the big leagues, and he's enjoying every moment of it.
And a guy that won't be fazed by the situation or the largeness of the game tonight. I mean, when you talk about filling in for Strasburg and keeping things going in the right direction, he won't be fazed.
All right, Denard Span gets on base. The Nats almost win whenever he does. It's an amazing 23-game hitting streak, and the Nats have won 18 ball games over this time. He's been hitting in the 390, 400 range, and he's been on base 43 times during the streak.
Well, he's a leadoff guy. He's the catalyst. He gets things going. And when you talk about the last 11 games for Denard Span, 17 for 43. That's a 395 average. The on-base percentage at 413. I mean, he's just been clicking all the way around. Kind of a microcosm of the way the season's gone. He got hot, team got hot, they're playing well. It's all been about Denard Span.
Well, it all started in Philadelphia with the home runs. Then it was on to Miami and then to New York. The Nats went crazy on the trip. On the 1st of August, this ball club had hit 100 home runs. Now they've hit 151. Zimmerman Worth at 23, 7th in the league. Desmond and LaRoche at 20. Harper's about to go 20. And who knows, Wilson Ramos may be visiting that club very soon. easy bank for the achiever in you. By Kia. Visit Kia.com to learn why Kia is one of the fastest growing car brands in America. And by University of Maryland University College. Well, it feels like autumn weather is invading the district. A real September feel as we're on Friday the 13th here. Nats are back home and train celebrating its 100th anniversary by offering irresistible financing. Hard to stop a train, really hard. Spirit of 76 on Heroes Day with the temperature here. And the Nats have their patriotic navy blues on. Phillies are 10th in the league in hitting, but they're now down to 14th in runs, and they've given up the most runs in the National League. Carlos Ruiz, though, keeps rolling, 6 for 11 over his last 3 games, and he's trying to show the Phillies that he wants to be a big part of what they've got going on next year. It'll be an interesting ball club to keep an eye on during the offseason. Right now, it's all about the regular season and getting some wins. Ross Ohlendorf, 5th appearance, 4th career start against the Phils.
Yeah, his last start was on September 1st against the Mets, went 5 innings, gave up 4 runs on 9 hits, walked nobody, struck out nobody through 79 pitches, 49 of those for strikes.
First big windup of the night, and we're underway at 7:06. Cesar Hernandez, the leadoff man. 9-year veteran Ed Hickox has the plate. Jim Joyce, the crew chief, at first. Jeff Nelson, second base. Jim Wolf at third. 92 on the fastball, and the count's even.
Yeah, a little two-seam fastball down right there. It'll average 92. A slider and a change to go with it. So 3-pitch guy. Fastball, slider, change.
Look at the run-back action on that fastball. It just did stay up and in. That's 94 with movement. Cesar Hernandez, the 23-year-old rookie switch hitter, batting .293. There's a beauty to the inside edge. Counts even. We'll be doing some scoreboard watching later. Reds at Milwaukee. Swinging a foul tip. And the pitching matchup is Matt Latos, 14-5 for Cincinnati. Kyle Loesch, 9-9 for Milwaukee. Nats are 5.5 back of the Reds, making this very interesting in the last 3 weeks. Upstairs, didn't miss by much with some of those heaters, and Cesar Hernandez is on. Not quite yet. I thought that was only ball 3. And the first base umpire, Jim Joyce, sent him back saying, young man, this is the big leagues. It takes 4 of those.
I like the effort, though. I like the idea. He's a leadoff hitter. He's trying to get on. Why wait around for 4 balls when maybe you can get on with 3? Good effort. I mean, that's a good leadoff hitting right there. Why wait for 4 balls?
That'll be out of play off to the left side. Ohlendorf, career record 21-32. This is his 79th major league start. And that's an easy take for ball 4. '13th walk against 36 strikeouts this year.
Their defense for the Nationals behind Ohlendorf. Harper, Spanworthy outfield. Desmond Zimmerman left side of the infield. Lombardozzi, LaRoche right side, and what new Wilson Ramos behind the plate.
21st consecutive start. Doing amazing damage from whatever spot in the order he's hitting. So here's Jimmy Rollins, who's 3 for 7 with a pair of solo home runs career against Ohlendorf. Phillies haven't seen Ross since 2010 when he was pitching for the Pirates. Rollins, 1 more home run to make it 200 for his career. He's driven in 38 runs this year on 6 long balls. And hitting about the same from either side of the plate, high 240s. That ball out to right center. Span to get it. He's going to make a throw. And if it was on line, there might have been a double play. Cesar Hernandez, for whatever reason, on a ball that Span was going to get to, really wandered a long way up, Pete, towards second base.
Well, he failed to realize that if the ball's in the park, Denard Span is going to catch it. He thought that ball was headed for the gap. Span with another good jump. Tried to double him off first base, throw wide. LaRoche tried to stay on the base, and the Nats caught a break that this ball didn't go down the dugout steps. It just misses about 2-3 feet to the right. Hit the netting, the protective netting on the dugout, and stayed in play.
Here's Chase Utley. Swinging the bat pretty well. 6 hits in his last 4 games. Ohlendorf gives his A move, and Hernandez back. The rookie, by the way, 0 for 2 stealing bases.
And Ross Ohlendorf's good. Like a lot of pitchers, he keeps the ball down. He gets in trouble, even though the fastball's 94, 95. It's belt high. If he keep it right there all night long, he'll be fine. Whenever he gets hit hard, he gets a little bit too much plate and elevates the heat.
Wind kind of gusting at times. The big flags aren't doing a whole lot, but we can definitely feel some breeze up here at our elevation. And Nationals Park is a fair park. You can work guys fastball away and keep it in the yard.
That's a big park tonight. Ball was going nowhere in batting practice.
Utley turns the shoulder away from that one high inside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Even though the wind's blowing straight down in the ballpark, if you look across the street at the flags, it's blowing from the left field foul pole across to right. It's a good shot right there, guys. So you get the ball elevated, it's going nowhere. Park is playing huge.
Ohlendorf with a high throw. Pretty preoccupied with a runner at first who has no steals this year, at least at the major league level. We know Hernandez has good speed. That's why he's in the big leagues and why the Phillies are taking a good long look at him in the leadoff spot. Stole 146 bases in the minors. '85 missing. 2-1. Things a little tight with Ed Hickox to start the game. I think Ramos and the umpire might have had a little chat there. And on a ball targeted for the outside corner, fouled off. Counts even 2-2.
Well, if you missed it, Steven Strasburg scratched from the start tonight. Davey Johnson saying before the game he felt soreness before his start against the Mets on Thursday. And I guess he was experimenting with new grips on some pitches, and that's what caused the tightness in his forearm.
And we want to emphasize it's the top of the forearm, not the bottom by the elbow where the Tommy John surgery took place. So that's the good part of that equation. Well, that makes this one a little tougher, and just as important as it was before. You've got Gio tomorrow, Jordan Zimmerman on Sunday. Big 3 against the Phils, and now 2 out of 3, and it's up to Ohlendorf to get the job done in this one. 2-2 pitch, runner holding, base hit. Hernandez turning, heading for third. Nothing Worth can do. Ball hit too slowly, and the Phillies have a corner situation with 1 out. And their best clutch hitter coming up.
Well, Chase Utley using the hole. Cesar Hernandez couldn't go because Ohlendorf pretty quick to the plate right there. So he controlled the running game, but in doing so, it left the hole open on the right side. Utley takes advantage, and with Hernandez's speed easily into third base. And Ohlendorf doesn't have to be great here tonight. Just good enough. You know, one of those quality starts where you give up 3 runs. With the way the Nats offense has been going lately, I think Strasburg being scratched from a start maybe in July, a much bigger story than it is right now, even though they're in the thick of things.
95 just missing. Carlos Ruiz, double play guy. If you can get a ground ball, he's hit into 8 of them, but he's also 6 for his last 11. 2-0. Work rate very slow with the runners at the corners. That's a great swing back fastball. 2 balls, 1 strike. Zimmerman rubbing up his glove at third. Desmond looking over at Lombardozzi. They'd love a ground ball. It'll be a pop-up to the right side, and the breeze will take this one straight out of here. 2-2.
Yeah, stay down there, get on top. Trying to work the bottom half of that zone to get a ground ball. Slider really hasn't been there yet. That's usually Ohlendorf's out pitch. And isn't it nice to be home? I'll tell you what, every time we go on the road, we come back, the first game, you look at this ballpark, you look at the grass, and there just is no better playing surface in the big leagues.
Chase Utley's base hit gave him a 5-game hitting streak, 7 for his last 16. He's visiting with Wally Joyner about Ohlendorf's time.
Well, Wally could do a lot of things as a player. He could field as good as anybody at first base.
I know where you're going with this.
He could hit like no other, but the one thing he couldn't do was steal a base. So, Wally, we love you, but just give the times over there.
That's all he's doing.
Great baseball player right there, folks.
He could hack. 2-2, target in. That ball ripped, and the Phillies are on the board. Utley going to third. The throw's got to go to second. Harper will keep Ruiz at first. And Carlos Ruiz drives in his 31st run. And right now he and Chase Utley are hitting the daylights out of the ball. They both have 7 hits in recent at-bats, and Steve McCaddy is going to make an early visit.
He just elevated once again. He's trying to get the ground ball, but watch the pitch. Belt high, inner half. Ruiz all over it. Very compact, short stroke. One of the hottest hitters for the Phillies right now. Puts him on the board 1-0. Nice piece of hitting.
Before the game today, Davey Johnson addressing the situation with Strasburg unable to answer the bell.
All the doctors think it's a non-issue and just give him some rest. It might have been some inflammation in there or something from some new muscles being used on this new pitch. You know, who knows? But, you know, Steve's a pretty perfectionist. He likes everything just perfect. So I'm sure anytime you've had an arm injury, any little discomfort, alarm bells are going to go off.
So nothing major, but the Phillies trying to make it into something like that with the first inning here. Darren Ruff, the hitter. Ohlendorf ahead of him. That's a foul tip that got Ramos. And the count's 0-2.
Yeah, slider's not there for Ross yet. Those last 2 he just threw to Darren Ruff, just spinning right down the middle. He got away with a couple. Yeah, right down the middle, and this one gets the Buffalo right in the face. Wow, look at that on Exmo. You can just see the reverberation. That's the biggest word as I'll ever use. But that did not feel good for Wilson.
Not at all a glancing blow, straight on. And a very important 0-2 pitch, or at least a sequence of pitches here. He went right after him and just missed up and away.
Velocity's good, but watch the elevation. You know, Ohlendorf is good when it's down, but that's up. Just missed the call. But that's not where he wants his fastball yet.
And the breaking ball fouled away by Darren Ruff, who turned 27 at the end of July. It could be an important guy in the future for the Phillies in the outfield with Dominic Brown and Ben Revere when he gets back healthy. Dominic Brown may be back in the Phillies lineup tomorrow night. He's been nursing an Achilles. And a 1-2, a fastball away, got him. Looked like the ball was tipped right into the middle of Ramos. And with that runner at third base, a huge second out.
A good pitch, big strikeout. Going the outer half against Ruff with that two-seam fastball. And just check out the body language of Ross Ohlendorf in this first inning. He looks like he hasn't settled down yet. Maybe a little bit too wound up early. Trying to find that rhythm, find that release point in the groove. But, you know, whenever we see him out there relaxed and smiling, that's when he's good. But right now, maybe with that spot start, yet to feel comfortable. That was his best fastball of the night right there.
And Davies said that Ohlendorf was in the dugout yesterday in New York, not the bullpen. He knew he was going to have to start him tonight. He said, I didn't want to have him in the bullpen and be tempted to use him. Didn't have to. Bullpen did a great job yesterday. And now Ohlendorf doing the same with the heater. He's got the rookie Cody Ashe. No balls, 2 strikes.
And if you remember Ohlendorf's last start on September 1st, that was the ESPN Sunday Night Baseball game where he gave up 4 runs in 5 innings. Battled through it. Didn't have his best command that night, but the Nats ended up winning that ball game.
And that time Ashe able to lay off the high heater. 23-year-old rookie out of the University of Nebraska.
"31st pitch coming."
Ramos moves away. Fastball right out there. So he gets a couple of Ks to end a very long top of the first in Art Span. 23 games and counting. Here come the Nats. I do not see it.
You can't see me waving in the booth? Check it out.
No, I can't see that far.
I can't either.
That you that just fell out of the booth?
Yep.
Starting lineup brought to you by Mazda. We believe it's not worth driving. It's not worth building. So where do you start in this lineup? How about Jason Worth, who's wearing out his old ball club this year? How about Ryan Zimmerman, who's hit 8 homers in his last 10 games? Or Adam LaRoche, who's on base 10 games in a row? Or Wilson Ramos with 13 RBIs in his last 8 games? Just take your pick, and that's who Kyle Kendrick has to deal with. 9th career start against the Nats. High ERA at 5.31 and a 2-3 record, but he's been pretty durable for them this year. 21 times he's gone 6 innings or more.
Their last start was against the Braves on September 7th. He received a no decision. The Phillies 6-5 win. Went 6 innings, gave up 4 runs, 3 earned, struck out 8, walked 3. Through 91 pitches, 55 of those for strikes.
Denard Span against him, 3 for 13 career, a homer, 2 RBIs. During his hitting streak, batting .385.
This would have been an automatic take early in the season, and it's almost an automatic swing here during the streak.
Right back it goes. So 11 games better than that of DJ LeMahieu of the Rockies. It is a Rocky with the longest streak in the league this year, Michael Kadire, 27 games. It ended June 30th. Kadire also leading the league at 334. And that's upstairs. Easy take for Denard, who in the New York series had 6 hits, a walk, hit a home run, played great defense.
Made friends with pigeons. He did it all.
No statue in center field is he, though. Up the middle. And Kendrick will spear it for the first out. Ryan Zimmerman had a spectacular game yesterday. Glove, bat, power. What a surge he's on.
Yeah, 8 home runs on the road trip for Ryan Zimmerman. And all varieties, too. Line drive home runs, high fly ball home runs, injuring bat boys, doing it all the whole road trip. 8 home runs, 4 bat boys injured. Got a little tradition going there with it. The bat boy in New York, to where he smacked him on the helmet every home run. He's okay right now. He just doesn't know his name or how old he is.
That poor kid's working a doubleheader tomorrow in New York.
He won't know.
The Marlins are up there, and they're going to play 2 tomorrow. So Ryan, 10 homers, 16 RBIs his last 26 games. And he'll wait for that off-speed pitch and just lines it hard to left. Batting average creeping back up toward the 280 mark.
And there goes the no-hitter. They got an off-speed pitch just spinning belt high, and right now with the way this ball club's hitting, they're not missing mistakes. I think that's been the biggest difference. Obviously the approach and sitting on a pitch, being patiently aggressive, all that stuff, but when you're locked in as a team, you don't miss mistakes, and it seems like every mistake the Mets made in that series went into the seats. 13 home runs in that 4-game set.
Nats are 3rd in the National League in home runs now. Worth has 23 of them, just like Zimmerman.
Check out the ranks on Jason Worth. Average 4th, on base percentage 4th, slugging percentage 2nd, OPS 1st. I mean, he's all over the stat sheet. Home average 7th, 321. Road average 2nd, 328. You name it. Hey, what's Jason Worth hitting during the day? 357, 4th in the National League. I mean, he's all over the National League leaders, and people are starting to mention him in the MVP conversation.
And evidently they're throwing underhand when it's 2-0. With those numbers, really short lead by Zimmerman. I mean, Ryan could reach out and put his hand on the right shoulder of Kevin Franzen. And the count goes to 3-0 on Jason Worth, who has an on-base percentage of .398.
Good night to be a hitter, bad night to be a pitcher. Ed Hickok, a very small zone early in this game.
It is. Saw that on a couple of Ollendorf fastballs. Harper waiting. And that'll be a strike call on 3-0. Mercedes-Benz will track it.
And Jason Worth, a guy that likes to swing 3-0, but he thought this was a little bit down. He's looking for something belt high that he could drive.
That's inside. Jason knows he's walked. And Bryce Harper will come up with 2 men aboard.
Said the defense for the Phils behind Kyle Kendrick tonight. Galvis, Hernandez, Ruff, your outfield. Rollins, Ashley left side. Utley, Franzen, right side. And Carlos Ruiz behind the plate.
Fans welcoming Bryce back with a huge ovation. Eight for 20. Career against Kyle Kendrick with a home run and 2 batted in. I mean, this outfield early in the game is playing really deep. Cesar Hernandez is about 350 feet from home plate in center field. They go off speed on the first one. Even on the offside, Freddie Galvis fairly deep as he shades way toward the gap.
Taking a couple steps in, I think he heard you, and now he's moving over to left center.
Yeah, evidently ahead in the count. Now they're going to work Bryce away, huh? That ball hanging up in the air toward the gap in right center. And it'll be covered by Darren Ruff. Ryan Zimmerman knew that ball was going to be caught. Gets himself to third base with 2 outs. That'll bring in Ian Desmond.
A pretty good read. He saw the ball wasn't carrying. Heard the sound off the bat. Saw Ruff with a beat on it. Tags up, goes to third. So Nat's wearing those jerseys because it's Heroes Day here at Nationals Park. Nice ceremony before the game honoring the military, first responders to 9/11. And I said this today. With the way this season's been going, these last couple of weeks are Operation Crash the Party. Do whatever you can to get in the playoffs.
Outside to Desmond, who has 13 career hits, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs against Kendrick, and a batting average in the matchup of .382. And a chopper to third. He'll have to hurry. So will the third baseman. And safe as Ashe pulled Franzen off the bag. Game tied. RBI Ian Desmond.
We'll see how they rule it. I think he could have beaten this. It depends how. Looking at the replay, if you thought he was going to be safe or not. But the bottom line is Desmond, like he always does, hustling down the first baseline. Ashe's throw kind of gets away from him, a sidearm delivery, and Desmond beats it out, and I think they're going to rule that a hit. I mean, good throw has him, but that was anything but a routine play on the slow roller off the bat of Ian Desmond. Regardless, the Nats answer the run by the Phillies in the top of the first to tie this thing up.
Ian Desmond, team leading 73rd RBI. With the base hit, here's LaRoche, who's been an on-base machine lately, and that's upstairs to Adam. In his last 10 games, 11 hits and 10 walks. I think that's a fair call by the score. By no means a routine play at the big league level. Fast base runner. And LaRoche shot a play to the left side. 1 ball, 1 strike. By the way, that's Ian Desmond's 15th RBI in his last 20 games. Some of these guys are on amazing hot streaks. Whether they're line drives or not, most of them are. LaRoche sitting on 60 RBIs. Up and in. Kendrick's going to have a long first inning himself.
Boy, if you stand there right now as a hitter, you're going to find yourself in an advantageous count. That pitch was close too, and it went LaRoche's way.
That looked generous on a 1-2, or rather a 2-1 delivery.
Yeah, well, scratch whatever I just said before that, because this is a ball.
Interesting. Adam LaRoche has walked 7 times against Kendrick over the years. 5 hits and 30 at-bats. And a swing and a miss. Off speed, 82. That ends the inning. But the Nats battle right back and grab the tie on the Desmond RBI. Honored with some very, very cool caps with the curly W. And this salute to the U.S. military brought to you by 3-Wire Systems, the leader in reducing wasteful spending through disruptive technology. Our hats off and our salutes to all the men and women, military, first responders, those who put themselves at risk to respond and to help us, and in some cases save as well. Ohlendorf against Kevin Franzen, top of the second. Galvis and Kendrick, 7, 8, 9 for the Phils. And the big windup with 88 for a strike. Franzen 0 for 1 career against Ross. And he's had 8 hits in his last 5 games. Nats checked in on Franzen last week in Philly. He was hitting in the 220 range. He's flirting with 240 now. Little tapper, pitcher bounces off the mound and right to his first baseman. 3 straight now. After that second base hit in the first. This inning presented by Luna. Call for the Luna double. Get your second room of flooring free unless you live up there. That is not free delivery. 877-241-LUNA. Kind of spooky with the clouds moving by.
Well, when we left for the road trip, it was summer. When we came back from the road trip, it's fall.
With a little rainy season yesterday in between. Hope everybody in our viewing area okay after the storms yesterday. Nats got in a lot later last night, but that's okay after you've won 4 in a row and 8 out of 10 on a road trip. Actually 4 in a row in New York and 6 in a row overall.
It's funny how that delay really didn't matter last night, or the delay at Citi Field with the tarp on. When you're going good as a ball club, those things tend to seem shorter, and you don't really think about it. When you're going bad, sitting on the runway is the worst thing in the world. And it's almost like the 5.5 game deficit. If you're playing good baseball 5.5 games back, it doesn't seem like that big a number. If you're playing bad baseball and you're going south in your 5.5 games back, that's a big number. And I don't think there's anybody playing as good as the Nationals in all of baseball right now.
And that ball launched pretty well out to right center, but Worth is under it. Off the bat of Freddie Galvis. Become a season plan holder for next year. Receive bonus e-cash and multi-year price locks. These special offers expire September 30th. So log on to nationals.com/2014. Some restrictions apply. Here's Kyle Kendrick. Rips it. Right there's Desmond. And he'll rip it over to LaRoche. The kind of inning you want after a 31-pitch first. At a 1-2-3, it'll be Ramos, Lombo, and Ohlendorf coming. See you later. See you later. And see you later. See you later. And see you later.
All right, so it's time for your AT&T fact of the game. And that's it. 13 home runs in the 4-game series at Citi Field.
Only 6?
And they hit 21 on the trip. And Bob said, see you later, his famous call on 6 of the 21 home runs on the trip. That's 29% of the time. You said, see you later.
I'm kind of relieved. I thought I did it every time. Getting a little old. Oh boy, now they're tracking announcer calls with all.
Well,
but it's fun because the ball club's hitting the ball a mile and we're having fun with it.
Well, truth be told, that was my idea.
Okay.
And I think that's about the right percentage. I mean, you save the see you later for the big ones. You just don't say it on any home run, wall scrapers, or, you know, when it's 10-0.
Oh my. See you in the bullpen. 2-1 as Wilson Ramos just jacks one right out of here. Told you Wilson Ramos might make it to the 20 home run club. That's 14, and he's had 5 in his last 9 games.
I mean, you talk about on cue.
How did you and Wilson Ramos come up with that?
Yeah, Wilson's idea to do the home run call and then hit one in the first inning or the second, third inning. And I mean, I'm speechless right now. We just went from showing the highlight, talking about it, the pitch was in the air, and Wilson Ramos decides to hit his 14th home run of the year. Unbelievable.
I tell you, at times, the strength of that young man is breathtaking.
Well, just standing behind the cage today, watching him hit. Whether it was a line drive to left field or hitting balls in the red porch, We talked about it yesterday. He doesn't even have 250 at-bats yet this year, folks, and that's his 14th home run of the year, his 48th RBI of the year. You're looking at a guy, if he stays healthy, that's a 30 and 100 catcher. Those don't grow on trees.
Chase Utley under the pop fly of Steve Lombardozzi for the first out here in the second. Hey, I'd be smiling too, playing every day for 3 weeks, doing amazing damage. He's now 6 for 10 career with 2 home runs against Kyle Kendrick. Some of these Nats hitters really have impressive numbers against this Phillies right-hander. Kyle Kendrick might be one of those guys who would love to see baseball go back to the balanced schedule where you don't see the teams in your division time after time after time. This is the 5th start for him against the Nats this year. Ross Ollendorf still hunting his first base hit of the season.
I'll tell you what, we know as broadcasters, it's about the guys on the field in uniform, it's about the game. But if I'm lucky enough to do this for another 10, 15 years, it's going to be hard to top what just happened with that Wilson Ramos home run. I mean, that's one of the coolest things I've ever experienced up here with you. That was cool.
Well, thanks to you and the crew and Wilson Ramos. Us play-by-play guys, all we do is describe what we're watching. And right now, what we're watching is a whole lot of fun.
Man, Denard Span and the way he's playing is a whole lot of fun. And who's having more fun than number 2 in center field? I mean, basically a knock a day for the last 23 days. There's one game when he got in there just for defense. But that one right there and what he thought and we thought was going to be his last at-bat yesterday turned out not to be. Extended the streak to 23.
Got ahead, first time up, fouled off a 1-0 pitch, eventually grounded right back to the pitcher. Ashe even with the bag at third. Outfield around to the left, but not like the Mets were. And Span will take ball 2. The Mets were playing their left fielder, Eric Young Jr., halfway to the line from where Freddie Galvis is playing right now. It was crazy, the outfield defense. They were playing against Span. Freddie Galvis all the way over their left edge of your screen. And Eric Young wouldn't have even been in that shot. Yeah, it's a strike, 2-1.
Well, when the streak starts to get to where it's national attention, pitchers want to be the guy to stop it. So Denard Span, all of a sudden, once you get in the 20s, guys are going to start bearing down. You're going to get their A stuff. And they don't want to let you extend a streak against them.
High strike on 80. And the one-play strikes seem to be available pretty far out on that corner to left-handed batters. We saw one to LaRoche that eventually led to a strikeout last inning. And he pulls it way high, way foul, and way upstairs.
Old school Marlins fan, never thought he was going to get a baseball sitting up there.
Not with Teal on. Span fights one off. That ball in on his trademark. Trying to keep this inning alive for the red-hot Ryan Zimmerman. Got an off-speed pitch first time, made the adjustment, just clubbed it into left field, and came around to score on the 2-out Desmond RBI. And Denard looks that one all the way in, 3-2.
Well, he just went 2-2 changeup right there for a ball. And a lot of times Kyle Kendrick will go 3-2 changeup. When you see a guy miss that badly with the pitch before, as a hitter, you're not really looking for it. So you would think that Denard Span stepping in here in a 3-2 count is all about the fastball and nothing else. See if he gets it.
Crowd anticipating something here. And Span will pop it up to the left side. Underneath, Cody Ashe. Fair ball, second inning over for the Nats. Use the long ball again to take the lead. Oh my. See you in the bullpen. 2-1 as Wilson Ramos just jacks one right out of here. Last 9 games, 14 on the year, 48 RBIs in 66 ball games, and the Nats just keep on hitting the ball. 14 homers last 5 ball games, and only the Orioles now have hit more since the first day of August. And if this ball club played in that ballpark half the time, no telling how many they would hit. Not to take anything away from Baltimore, a good power hitting team. But this park really plays fair. And some of the yards in the National League East aren't exactly bandboxes other than Philadelphia. Leadoff man Cesar Hernandez. That was an 8-pitch second inning for Ross Ohlendorf, who's retired 5 straight. Thing I've noticed about his heater, FP, that fastball really has some run on it tonight.
It does. He's still fighting to get it out front on top and down the zone, but the velocity's good, and like you said, the movement into righties away from lefties is good too.
There it is, riding up and away at 92. And the count's 2-2. Nissan will track it.
And there's certain guys that you can elevate that fastball against, and Hernandez might be one of them. Guys with pop, you don't want it up there, but little guys, especially left-handed, like the ball down, generally speaking.
Hernandez walked first time. Actually, he walked twice his first time up. Went to first base on ball 3. The umpire sent him back, and then he walked on a high fastball. Ross doesn't want to do it again because it can lead to a Phillies run the way Utley and Ruiz are swinging the bat. And he'll get him on a fly ball out to center. Denard Span has to come in with the breeze to catch that. You can bid now on game-worn jerseys, the chance to be a part of the Jerseys Off Their Backs presentation following the last home game against Miami a week from Sunday. Nationals.com/auction. The auction ends at 8 o'clock Sunday, September 18th. So that's just this weekend coming up. We're going to check that date. Friday the 13th. I don't think Sunday's the 18th. We'll check it out. If you're catching a game at Nationals Park, stop by the Dream Foundation kiosk in the Centerfield Plaza. Purchase jerseys off their backs, raffle tickets for your chance to win a jersey worn by the Nats.
Well, by my math, it is.
So we'll say that the auction ends the night after that last game. Jimmy Rollins will pop one up, and the wind will blow that right over to foul ground for Adam LaRoche. 2 down. Ross Ollendorf suddenly gathering outs quickly. 7 straight. And being economical at the same time. He'll face Chase Utley now. Utley 7 for his last 16 over 5 games. And he's 3 for 5 career against Ross Ollendorf. Most of that in Ross's days with the Pirates. Took a little bit off, and that changeup had good movement.
You hear that?
I'm listening.
That's the buzz of a crowd. We haven't heard that in 10 days. Whether we were in Philadelphia, South Florida, or New York, it's kind of nice to hear that background noise of fans in the stands. And they've been loud so far. Good crowd here on a Friday night at Nats Park. Fans excited to see their ball club, who's as hot as anybody, back in town.
On a 1-1 pitch. Chase Utley right off the end of the bat. And the count 1-2. Thanks to that long first inning, he's up to 50. But as mentioned, outs are coming quicker. Nice on the breaking ball, diving straight down on Chase Utley. So it's Zimmerman, it's Worth, it's Harper. It's the third coming up. Well, Ross Ollendorf settling things down. The Nats bats making some noise. 3 hits, a run in each of the first 2 innings, and a 2-1 lead. Ollendorf, by the way, his last 6 outs on 20 pitches. Ryan Zimmerman base hit left field first time. Scored on a 2-out hit by Ian Desmond. First inning. '87, took a little bit off, ran it right back to the edge. Ryan's now 13 for 42 career against the Phillies right-hander. Same pitch, just a little higher. 0-2. 8 home runs this month. And they've all come in the last 10 ball games. A power surge like we've never seen before from Ryan. And there goes one to left center. Heading for the bullpen. He's done it again. How about 9 homers in his last 11 games? Three-1 Nats on Zimmerman's team-leading 24th.
That's a ball club that's having some fun, folks. Just like the fans are here at Nats Park. And the Washington Nationals are making a serious bid to crash the party.
And Worth launches one that's hooking just to the left of the pole.
I mean, what replay are we showing right here? Where's foul ball or Zimmerman's home run? I mean, the swing has just been so short and so compact. Noticed it about 2 weeks ago in batting practice, where he's just right down to the baseball, a lot like Jason Worth, where he's standing tall, dropping the head right on the ball. No hotter hitter in baseball than Ryan Zimmerman. Well, maybe that guy. I mean, you could just go through the dugout and we could say, well, maybe that guy.
Yeah.
But Ryan Zimmerman, 9 home runs in the month of September.
That's 4 more than anybody in baseball this month. Breaking ball, a bouncer, 1 ball, 1 strike to Jason Worth, who's watched Ryan Zimmerman just go zooming by him for the team home run lead, but they've been kind of jockeying lately, so maybe Worth wants to tie this thing back up. That breaking ball is way upstairs. Curve ball at 75, 2-1. The Nats have now hit 153 home runs. Cubs 160, Braves 166 to lead the league. And that's off the end of the bat, right field line. Long way to go for a bunch of Phillies, and that's foul by about 4 or 5 feet.
And the wind just pushed it foul, or that had double written all over it. But when you talk about what this team has done lately and how hot they are, if you're lucky enough to get into that 1-game playoff and advance, you have a good shot at running the table, because you will be the hottest team on the planet. If you get your foot in the door or crash the party, as I'm saying, you have a good chance of finishing the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's why this becomes crucial. Like I said yesterday, there's no time for setbacks anymore. There's no opportunity to rebound from a tough loss.
And Worth in the air, this one tailing away from the right fielder Ruff and into the seats in the corner.
And a push is okay with the Reds for maybe the next couple, 2-3 days, but after that, even pushes are days off the schedule, and you can't do that anymore.
Right?
So this is basically do or die baseball. Every game like an elimination game in a tournament.
You keep winning, you get to keep playing.
You keep winning, you keep playing. But you'd never know it being around these guys. It's the loosest they've been all year, the most fun they're having all year.
And on a changeup, Worth will strike out. That ball dove on him at the last instant. Strikeout number 3 from Kyle Kendrick. 1 out. Next up, Bryce Harper. And it's only a matter of time before Bryce gets one and joins the 20 home run club. Last time Bryce has hit a home run, 29th of August against Tom Kohler of Miami right here. Up and in, ball 1. They're about 5 minutes away from starting in Milwaukee with the Reds and the Brewers. And Bryce will take another one off the plate, 2-0.
As a hitter, if you don't have your base underneath you and you don't have your legs, it's hard to generate power. And having some knee stuff myself throughout my career, there's nothing worse than going up there without your legs and your base underneath you. It takes away all your power and takes away all your pop.
Freddie Galvis for the second out. This moment in history brought to you by Volkswagen's Best Thing Ever event. Visit VWDealer.com. And Olympic Stadium built in 1976 for the Olympics there, Summer Olympics. And that stadium had all kinds of problems almost from the day it was finished. A 55-ton block collapsed, and the Expos of '91 had to finish the season away from home.
A lot of people didn't like that ballpark. It's the first park I ever set foot Major League soil on, so like your first love.
Yeah.
I think that place is great.
And on the infrequent occasions when the Expos, for whatever reason, did draw big crowds, I mean, that place could rock. It was just so sad those last few years. Single digits, 10,000. It was just such a big cavernous place. It didn't play unless you could get 25, 30,000 in there. Desmond up the middle. That ball changed directions on Chase Utley and then hits him in the arm above his glove.
He and Desmond relying on the scorekeeper here at Nats Park tonight. Let's see what they do on this one. First time went his way. Infield single. How are you going to rule this? Little ricochet right there. Might have had some spin on it. Oh, yeah. Do you see that English right there? Right when it got to where the grass meets the dirt, the ball took a right, and they're going to give Chase Utley an error on this. But that might have been a tougher play than the first one when you show that shot from behind the plate on how when it got to the cutout, because of the rotation caused by maybe Kyle Kendrick's glove, the ball just simply took a right turn on Chase Utley. Watch this. So Kendrick gloves it, and then once it gets to where the grass meets the dirt, watch this hop. And then another hop back that way. So two hops with side spin on it created by the ball ricocheting off Kendrick's glove.
Yeah, Chase Utley doesn't miss one like that unless something weird's going on. And that ball was spinning wickedly. That could have gone either way, that call. And the count's 2-0 to Adam LaRoche.
That's one you can't practice.
Yeah. Chase has made 17 errors now this year. That guy's still got a lot of baseball left in him, though. He's back healthy now with the knees. Swinging the bat well. Phillies got to get Ryan Howard back healthy next year, and then they can figure out their outfield.
Well, 3-0 to me is the best count to steal on. Nobody ever throws over. Nobody ever even looks you back. You can get a fantastic jump. When you're talking about 20-20 and him needing one more bag, it's a perfect count to go.
He's leaning, he's holding, and it's a strike.
And the reason is because if it is a strike, you usually get a big jump, and now you have a hitter up there in a 3-1 count to drive you in with 2 outs. Pete McCannon was the one that taught me that, the ex-Phillies bench coach.
He's going. Swing and a tapper. And Kendrick will throw out LaRoche. Desmond had a great jump. The Nats tack on another second straight inning with a leadoff homer. Ramos in the second, Zimmerman in the third. They are wearing out the left field bullpen. Look out, Phillies. Park. It's our Navy Federal Credit Union troop recognition. 4 million members, 4 million stories. Navy Federal Credit Union. A couple of months ago, the Nationals had their Dream Gala here in town, and some folks got a great prize. How about John and Audrey Osuna? They get to sit in Mike Rizzo's GM suite during a ball game. They get to shadow Mike and his baseball ops staff today, and batting practice down there, a couple of innings with Mike, and they get to go to Davey's post-game presser.
Well, it's a great prize if the Nats are ahead.
Mike's in a really good mood right now.
If they're behind, they'd have to put helmets on.
Hey, congratulations, John and Audrey, and they made a sizable contribution to the Nationals Dream Foundation to earn that prize, so we thank them for their support of what the Nats are doing in the community here with youth baseball and all the wonderful things the Dream Foundation does. Ruiz, Ruff, Ashe, top of the fourth. 8 straight for Ross Ohlendorf. Breaking ball, deep short. Desmond, did he do it? Perfect to LaRoche. 1 out.
He's such a smart player. I mean, once he got to that ball, that was the hard part. He knew because of the wheels of Carlos Ruiz, once he gloves this baseball, it's all he has to do is get it on line. He knows LaRoche is going to take care of the rest on the backside, so hard part right here, extending. Now right after the transfer, he knows, just get it near first base, on line, and you have Ruiz because of his lack of speed. What a play.
Pitchers throwing strikes, guys behind him making plays. And then with the bats giving run support, it's a great formula the Nats are putting to success over the last couple of weeks. Here's Darren Ruff. And going back to his at bat, that might have changed some of the momentum in this game. They had a run in, first and third, 1 out, top of the first, struck him out. This time he hits him on a ball off the plate with a heater. And the Phillies get a base runner, their first runner since Ruiz's base hit back in the first. Monday, Dollar Hot Dog Night back here at the ballpark, presented by Hatfield. Braves in town. Dollar Hot Dogs available at select concession stands until the start of the 6th inning or while supplies last. Some restrictions. Tickets start at just $10. Nationals.com/tickets. First pitch, a fastball to Cody Ashe for a strike. So that breaks up a string of 9 consecutive batters retired. And it gets through Ramos. Down to second base, Ruff. And that's a pass ball on Wilson.
Yeah, it had to be. It looked like Wilson almost blocked himself off the ball when he reached up for it and lost sight of it. You see that? His glove went right in front of his eye line, and when he did, he lost sight of the baseball.
One ball, 1 strike to Ashe, who struck out to end the first inning. Pretty good pitch, tailing away severely from the left-handed batter. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I threw a 2-1 changeup right there, and Ashe banking on a fastball, got the changeup. Well located, good late movement, good arm speed.
Young hitter, 36th game in the big leagues and experiencing a little adversity, trying to battle his way out of a mini slump. Close to the inside corner. Ramos framed it nicely. Kinetic North America will check it out.
It just seems that Ed Hickok is seeing the other side of the plate way better than this side.
Yeah, and that's weird because he's set up over the inside shoulder of the catcher. And oftentimes, P, when an umpire goes there, it's the other way around.
Right.
He gives the inside pitch. That gets away.
And that's a pass ball.
Yeah, they've got to account for the 90 feet for the runner to third. So on ball 4, what appears to be another pass ball on Wilson Ramos. And suddenly a fairly innocent-looking inning turns into first and third, 1 out.
Let's see what happened on this one. Just missed it. Well, maybe 21 games in a row is starting to take a toll on Wilson back there, or that shot we had of the foul ball straight to his mask.
Yeah. There's a good contact man in Kevin Franzen. He goes up hacking, smelling an RBI.
He's also spilling some pine tar because there's none left on the rag. It's all on his helmet. And his bat and his shirt. Maybe his cleats.
Craig Biggio smiling somewhere. That was his look for a lot of years. Look at that breaking ball or changeup drop in. That either had some backup action to it or just a high changeup. 0-2. You've got a hit batter, 2 pass balls, and a walk in this inning. That is a foul ball. Cody Ashe, by the way, alertly running off for first base after that pitch. He didn't know it was a foul ball. He thought it might have been a swing and a miss. Didn't assume anything, took off for second. And a bounce to Desmond. Should be 2. Lombardozzi turns it. 6-4-3 go the Nats. 130th double play in a big pitch in a big spot by Ross Ohlendorf.
Shapes TV completely around you, recommending more of what you like to watch. 3 candlesticks to 1 candlestick. Nats up 3-1 as we head to the bottom of the 4th. And this game, like the whole road trip, like the whole Mets series, has been about the tater. Wilson Ramos with his 14th of the year in the second to make it 2-0. And Ryan Zimmerman, who's hotter than this guy, 24th of the year. 73rd RBI, and his helmet is off.
Makes it official.
It is. I like watching slow high fives because you can see if they really connected or if they missed. And break down some high fives. There's been a lot of them lately.
Here's Ramos. Led off with a laser 2 innings ago. Right now, Kyle Kendrick using the outside corner with that swing back pitch, high 80s. With the 2 home runs tonight, he's given up 18 this year. He's over 180 innings. Reds, by the way, did not score in the top of the first at Milwaukee. A ball game underway. Nats are 5.5 back of Cincinnati in the wild card chase. Ramos, left side, scooping it up, Cody Ashe. Plenty of time to set himself for the first out.
And you talk about that chase and what the Reds are doing right now, Carp. And I was talking to a couple of guys in the day, a couple of players today for the Nats about the whole thing. And you see the Nats 5.5 games back. And I said on the road trip that they're the only team in baseball that can really make you lock up, really make you feel them, to where now you're not playing that free and easy baseball. And I think maybe Cincinnati caught up in Pittsburgh and St. Louis in front of them so much that they might not see what's in their rear view mirror. And by the time they see what's in their mirror, it might be too late.
So you're saying, and that's a base hit for Lombardozzi. Yeah, kick it foul. It's still a fair ball. You're saying that when you look in that mirror, objects may be closer than they appear?
Absolutely. And to where it starts affecting maybe the way Dusty Baker manages games, to where now a pitching change, or whether I put on a hit and run, or who I start in left field on a given day, is a bigger deal than it was before. And you start thinking as a manager, as you watch one of the best base hit bunts you'll see all season long. And just another example of why I call Steve Lombardozzi a baseball player, find a way to get things done. So now the decisions you make, Carp, as a manager, when you look at 4 games back and 3 games back and you start to feel it, it changes the way you manage a baseball game.
Ollendorf trying to bunt Lombardozzi to second base. Yeah, and the odd thing about it, the Cincinnati Ball Club that the Nats visited the very first weekend of the season, and then they came here for 3 games at the end of April. You don't see them the rest of the year, and here you are with a couple of ball clubs kind of obsessed with each other at the end of the season, and they never play again after the first month. That's how crazy the scheduling is these days. And Ollendorf switches off, and Cody Ashe, the third baseman, stepped over into foul territory. He was not liking his comfort level right there.
Yeah, that was self-preservation right there for Ashe. As soon as Ollendorf pulls back, watch Cody Ashe, top of your screen, third baseman coming in. He pulls back, oh gosh. And you see him right there just, I am glad he missed that.
0-2 now. See if Davey leaves the bunt on. Ollendorf will swing, and that should be 2. Jimmy Rollins, and great hustle by Ollendorf, but they turned the 1-6-3 and the inning's over. Lombardozzi, a bunt hit. On to the 5th inning now. The Nats 3-1. Report with AFCEA the Association for Global Security Professionals. And with Julie as well. Good evening.
Hey, good evening, guys. I am here with retired Marine Kyle Earl. He will be playing in the Celebrity Softball Tournament coming on the Wounded Warriors Celebrity Softball Tournament on Sunday. What position are you going to be playing?
I'm going to be in right field.
Are you nervous at all playing on the field with everybody watching?
No, not anymore.
Any player you're looking forward to seeing?
Any of them, really. Not anyone in particular.
Is there a big rivalry here with some of your buddies? Because I know a couple of the guys are here tonight. You guys talking smack, ready to get out and play some ball?
Yeah, it'll be fun. A lot of the guys that have been on the team for a while now are all going to be on the same team together, and some of the newer guys will be on the other side, so we'll have to stick it to the newer guys, show them how it's done.
A little bit of rookie hazing?
Just a little bit.
All right.
It'll be fun, though.
Sounds good. How long have you played on the Wounded Warriors softball team?
It'll be coming up on 2 years in November.
Wow, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being here. We look forward to it. Thank you for your service. And the Wounded Warriors Celebrity Softball Tournament will be held on Sunday after the game right here at Nats Park. And you can get more information at nationals.com. Guys?
All right, thanks, Julie. Yeah, the ball game, then the kids run the bases, and then right after that, and on the main diamond, well, you know, last year they played out in center field facing back this way. They're going to use the big field this year. It's Freddie Galvis, and he goes butcher boy and slams one foul. After showing bunt, he broke his bat.
For a minute there, I thought Julie was with Jeff Coburnis. I was like, how did he get out in the outfield? But I was told by the Nationals shortstop today that I better be aware of Chelsea Desmond because she's meaning business. And he said she can hit. And I better be careful on defense because she's coming after me.
Well, you know, she and Ian started dating when they were like in 5th grade. So it's quite possible that she's taught him most of what he knows about baseball.
I'm thinking that's how it went, to be honest with you. Based on what Ian told me today.
Yeah.
Said she can go in the hole at shortstop. She's got a cannon across the infield. She can swing it.
And those of us who know Chelsea know that there's a competitor in there, too.
That's what he said. Bring it on. Let's go.
And the 0-2 by Ohlendorf to Galvis. Turned one over, down and away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Kyle Kendrick bounced out to Ian Desmond, first time up. Possibly the second best shortstop in the family. And that one's by Ryan Zimmerman down the line. Harper over to cut it off, and Bryce is thinking second base. Strong throw, made it close. And then Galvis came off the bag, and Lombardozzi kept the tag on.
What a play by Bryce Harper. And a heads-up tag from Lombardozzi. So Galvis beating Zimmerman to the third base side. Harper into his slide, slings it right on the money. And Lombardozzi took his hand off the base, kept the tag on him to get the out. I'll tell you what, that stuff that doesn't show up in the box score, and that stuff that I talk about, great effort by Harper, great throw, but watch Lombardozzi staying with it. How many guys do that? Usually one tag, he's safe. Oh, I just missed him. But keeping the glove on him, actually took his hand off the base and got the out. So a base hit bunt, and here's a perfect example of Steve Lombardozzi, baseball player. Look at that. Fantastic. And for all you kids at home, stay with the play until it's over. That's a perfect example.
And if you're running, hug that bag if you can. On a pitch up, Kendrick will hit one over Bryce Harper's head. A one-hopper, and Bryce thinking about throwing this guy out. Here it comes. Desmond cut it, and Kendrick is just safe.
Exciting baseball.
Kyle Kendrick's 7th hit of the year.
Well, Harper and Lombardozzi saved a run.
Kendrick has a triple this year and now a double.
Well, I don't know if you could say that because he would have probably been bunting if Galvis was on. But watch the play by Harper. One hand off the wall to Desmond, relay. And Kendrick decides to be umpire here after he slides. Watch him make the call. Safe. Just got in there.
Things happening quickly here, and Hernandez hacking. By the way, if you're wondering, does the outfielder still get the assist when the runner is safe and then comes off the bag? The answer is yes. That's Bryce Harper's 11th outfield assist of the year.
But is it a double for Galvis?
I would think so.
Right?
Yeah, because he made it to second base. Yeah, that's a good question. And it was a double. Just like getting picked off.
Or trying for a triple and getting thrown out.
So back-to-back doubles, and the Phillies so far, nothing to show for it. I think somebody might have just automatically called it a single and didn't think it through. When you're safe at second base, you're safe. Fernando Abad, the bullpen's getting busy because right now Ross Ohlendorf is finding a couple of barrels.
Well, it's never been a problem with Ohlendorf and his stuff. Davey Johnson's concern has been about the endurance and the times that he spot started this year because of maybe not being irregular in the rotation and being a reliever sometimes, starter sometimes. Right around 75 pitches is where he generally hits the wall.
Yeah, and that's right where he is here. Fastball up, and you can hear Ross grunting as he let go of that heater. I always had hitters tell me the greatest grunter and most intimidating of all time was Nolan Ryan. I mean, he would really make some crazy loud noises when he let go of his fastball, as if hitters weren't already concerned enough. On a pitch down, goes down to get it, base hit. Stopping at third base, Kendrick, first and third, one out, and the Phillies have 3 consecutive hits. With more on Ross Ohlendorf, here's Julie.
Well, I asked Steve McCatty, pitching coach, what he expected to see out of Ross Ohlendorf today, and he said, I expect him to compete. I know he's a big competitor. I want to see 5 to 6 innings from him, 75 to 100 pitches. I would be very, very happy with that. I have full confidence in the bullpen as well. Craig Stammen is fresh and rested after just throwing 1 inning yesterday. He said, as long as I can get 5 or 6, and that about looks like what we're getting here. So McCatty got to be happy with that.
In Ross Ohlendorf's 5 starts, 6 innings, 89 pitches, 7 innings, 114, and that was a 2-1 win here against the Mets. And then he had his problems after that. On his return, 4 1/3 at Chicago, 91 pitches, 5 innings Marlins, 78 pitches, and then last time out against the Mets, 5 innings, 79 pitches. So he's right in that wear down zone.
Well, he's got to be careful right here with Jimmy Rollins in these situations, a notorious first ball fastball hitter. So you would think Ryan Sandberg's shortstop is going to be aggressive right here early in the count. Phillies 15-11 under Ryan Sandberg. Ooh.
Rollins has flied to center and popped up to LaRoche. 3-1 Nats lead in jeopardy here, top of the 5th inning. This could be his last hitter because lefty Utley on deck, and he's probably swinging the best of any Phil. And Ruiz right behind him, swinging the bat well as well. But Utley would represent the go-ahead run even if Ross retires Rollins. Nats looking for another ground ball right at somebody. That's outside. Jimmy Rollins has hit into a team-leading 10 double plays this year. Actually, Utley at 12 and then Rollins at 10. 2-0 count.
When you see Rollins swing, he's a guy that will try to pull the baseball in these situations. Most hitters, most RBI guys like to use the whole field, go the other way. Rollins will cheat on a fastball and try to turn on it. And he was thinking 3 runs right there instead of a sac fly.
Just a quick note, Milwaukee 2 runs, bottom of the 1st. And they have runners at second and third with 2 outs, jumping all over Matt Latos of the Reds. 2-1 pitch. Rollins, a swing and a miss on 94 up.
Up and a little bit away, and both those swings from Jimmy Rollins are pull swings to fastballs outside.
Game situation here in the 5th inning. 2 doubles and a single. And the Phillies haven't scored yet.
Bigger lead for Hernandez.
Long pause. He's holding. Rollins pops it up left side. Ryan Zimmerman through the coach's box and then to the edge of the track. 2 outs.
Big outs. Huge out. And now it's decision time for Davey Johnson. Does he want to go to Fernando Abad or stick with his right-hander? You see another pull swing from Rollins. Fastball elevated. 3rd pop-up for Jimmy here tonight. First time center field. Last time LaRoche. This time to Ryan Zimmerman for a huge out for the big windup.
Mercedes-Benz on the pitch track getting that big out. 1 for 2 tonight. And Chase Utley is 3 for 7 career against Ross Ohlendorf. Fastball in there. Managers will tell you that the toughest thing to do is take out a pitcher either 1 batter too early or 1 batter too late.
Well, when
you just have no way of knowing.
When you're in a wild card race, there's no feelings here. It's not about wins and losses or stats. It's about the ball club winning the game. I mean, wins and losses personally for a pitcher.
No, I'm not talking about 5 innings. Managers will just say the thing that makes them feel worse is if they leave a guy in for 1 batter too many. And if Ross gets 5 innings, that's great. Right now, get the out, and maybe this is it for him. So he's got to let it all hang out against a tough hitter. Outside, 2-1.
Man, trying to figure out what that pitch is. The first pitch to Utley was 85. That was 87. His changeup average is 82. So Ohlendorf, a guy that'll add and subtract on the fastball, but that might have been the heater on pitch number 85 at 87 miles an hour.
Yeah, that season high, 114 against the Mets July 26th. And then he struggled after that. Went on the DL. Outside, 3-1. Ian Desmond coming in for a visit.
I mean, if those are fastballs, he's hit the wall.
If he loses Utley, say walks him to load the bases, a right-handed batter on deck. And Utley will foul it out of play.
So those are change-ups. Fastball 94 right there.
Good. Nice crowd into this game, starting to clap, starting to anticipate an out here. Runner at first, Hernandez, great speed on the move. And Utley will drive it to center, but you know who's there.
Got a span there.
Denard Span grabs it. Ross Ohlendorf, quite a battle in the 5th inning. Gets out of it. Phillies 3 hits, no runs. But William Howard Taft going Jason Friday the 13th takes down both parties. Super slow-mo, the X-Mo capturing the carnage on that one. Bill would get up, and just as he thought he was winning the race, here comes George. Down goes Jason. Here goes George. Up goes the flag. God bless America. That was good. We're going to the bottom of the 5th inning. Span, Zimmerman, Worth. Visit Kia.com to learn why Kia is one of the fastest growing car brands in America. Month of September, Span on that streak. Zimmerman on a power streak. And then Jason Worth just about doing it in every department, as FP chronicled earlier. So here's Span, 3rd at bat of the night. It took him until the 8th inning yesterday to extend the hit streak. That was 88 up and away, and Denard sliced it straight back. Helping him out here, the fact that Zimmerman on deck is 2 for 2. So he should see something to hit. Target way out there.
There's so many games within the game right now at the Nationals, whether it's Denard Span extending his hitting streak, Zimmerman's home run barrage in September, Jason Worth's chase for a batting title, Jordan Zimmerman trying to get to 20 wins, Ramos's consecutive game streak behind the plate. A lot of good stuff going on.
2-1.
Desmond 2020.
By the way, Fernando Abad has sat down, and that call to the bullpen a moment ago was to get Craig's stamina up. He's working with urgency. 88 pitches for Ohlendorf could be done for the night. 2-1 pitch.
Got a pitch, let it rip, fouled it back. That last inning right there by Ohlendorf was on guts. He didn't have a whole lot left of the tank, let it all hang out. Got out of a big jam. Nicely done.
2 doubles and a single in the inning. And thanks to Bryce Harper and Steve Lombardozzi, he didn't give up a run. Span, soft little spinner down to third base. And out on a bang call at first. Very close. And Denard Span is 0 for 3. Cody Ashe just enough on the throw.
How close was that? Ashe had to get rid of it quick. Once it takes him toward the line, going into his own dugout, across his body on a hop, and they got him. That was a good call. Nice pick by Kevin Franzen on the backside. Watch, in the glove, about a half a step before Span's foot hits the base. Nice call right there by Jim Joyce, right on top of it.
1 out. Zimmerman and Worth now, the next 2. That's a big out for Kendrick. Now he doesn't have to work Zimmerman off the stretch. With Span on base, gets a strike. Ryan has singled to left, and he's pulled a home run into the bullpen.
His 9 home runs tie Adam LaRoche, who hit 9 last year in September for the most home runs in the month in Nats history.
And it's only the 13th of the month.
Unbelievable.
Outside, 2-1.
And they've been to all fields, too. I mean, he's hit a number to right field on a line. He's hit a couple high fly balls straight away center field. He's had home runs to the pull side, so wherever you hit it, he's been pitching. Wherever you pitch it, he's been hitting it.
Yeah, we showed that home run pattern during the New York series where Ryan has hit most of his home runs straight away. I think that's one more to left field now than right field with the one here tonight. And a 2-2. They'll pull it. Left side, base hit. A lot of topspin on that ball. And Ryan Zimmerman is 3 for 3.
Top spin shooter right there. Once that ball hit the dirt on the second hop, it just takes off on Cody Ashe. Watch this ball hit and just take off. Those are the toughest plays for an infielder. And Ashe knew it too. He tried to give with it right there, but there was just so much top spin. The ball actually had another gear when it hit the dirt. When you're going good, that's what happens.
Ryan Zimmerman now hitting .281. He's a .287 career hitter. Worth a walk and a strikeout. Coming off a rare 0 for yesterday when he went 0 for 3 and was hit by a pitch. His last hit, a double, his first time up in New York Wednesday night.
A lot of talk after the ball game about that 3-0 fastball. They hit him right in the back. Majority of the Nats thought that was on purpose.
I don't know if there's any kind of history between Frank Francisco and Jason Worth.
Well, he had a hot hitter up, first base open, and the 3 pitches before just missed Worth, so everything was in that whole sequence, and then finally a 3-0 pitch hit him right between the 2 and the 8.
Great take, borderline pitch, 2-1. Nats lead 3-1. Worth has driven in 71. That man has some kind of batting eye. Ball 3.
We're just seeing the ball so big right now. 2-1 changeup. Pretty good pitch by Kendrick right there. Strike for most of the way. Game moving very slow right now for Worth. Saw it early and spit all over it.
Zimmerman short lead at first. Jason Worth walks again like he did after his Zimmerman single in the first inning, and Bryce Harper's going to come up for the second time tonight with 2 runners aboard.
I'll tell you what, Nats offense nearly unstoppable right now. And as soon as Bryce Harper joins the party,
look out.
It will be officially unstoppable.
Glenn Sandberg knows it. Rich Doobie on the phone to their bullpen. Bryce has flied to right, flied to left, but still has 8 career hits, a homer, 2 RBIs against Kyle Kendrick. Cesar Jimenez from the left side of the Phil's bullpen. And Harper a check swing. Counts even 1-1. Then he pulled the string on him at 80. Kendrick ahead.
It's kind of been the book on Bryce for the last week or so. in hitting counts, or when the count's even, throw him the soft stuff. The changeup from Kendrick right there, a good one.
Outside, Reds loaded the bases at Milwaukee. They scored 1 run in the top of the second. So Brewers coming up leading 2-1 over the Reds.
Can that just be a final?
I don't know. Some people in Milwaukee they paid good money to see a 9-inning ball game.
Well, I was just asking.
2-2.
Don't yell at me.
Request denied. Bryce Harper not denied. Base hit. Trent Jewett will hold Ryan Zimmerman with the play right in front of Freddie Galvis. And the Nats have used 2 hits around a walk to load him up for Ian Desmond.
Nice piece of hitting right there by Bryce Harper. Just letting the ball get deep, and look at him get on top of that. You don't see too many lefties able to get on top of the baseball like that. Usually it's the right-handers that are high ball hitters. And Bryce did a nice job of raising up, get on top of that high pitch, and taking what the game gives you. A little 5.5 hole right there, loading them up for Ian Desmond. Desmond singled his first time up, infield single, reached on an error off of Kyle Kendrick's glove. It ricocheted to Chase Utley his second time up, and now he has a chance to break this one open.
Ian Desmond's already gone yard with the bases loaded. June 19th, Nats 6-2 11-inning win, and Ian Desmond against Michael Stutz, way out of Citizens Bank Park.
But we had a blimp that night. He almost hit it with that home run. And watch the enthusiasm in the Nats dugout when he gets back. Big-time homer from a big-time player.
Nationals had lost the first 2 games of that series. And that got him a W on the road. Desmond 1 for 2 tonight with an RBI infield hit. Generous strike call. Desmond against Kendrick. 14 for 36 career with 2 homers, 6 RBIs. Zimmerman third, Worth second, Harper first. So batting .389 career against this right-hander. And a chopper that hits the plate. Desmond legging one out, and the Nats lead 4-1. 2 infield hit RBIs tonight.
When you're hot, you're hot. When you're hitting as a club, you get all the breaks. And Ian Desmond is 2 for 3 and hasn't hit a ball out of the infield tonight. All the extra base hits this year for Ian Desmond. Chops one off the plate. Gets the job done. And his second infield single tonight. With any luck at all, he could be 3 for 3 with 3 infield singles, because I thought the last one could have went either way.
Still only 1 out here in the 5th, and that is it for Kyle Kendrick. The Nats will get him out of the game after 4 1/3 innings. This call to the bullpen packaged by the UPS Store. We love logistics. Nationals headphones presented by T-Mobile, only at the center field gate. So come on down Half Street, and that's while supplies last. Some restrictions apply. Go to nationals.com/tickets. Adam LaRoche yesterday, home run first time, double third time.
Yeah, both the other way. A off-speed pitch there from Aaron Harang. Just gets it over the head of Eric Young. That was a tater after further review. Humps looked it over, and this one you thought had a chance. Top of the fence, wall scraper. So a home run and a double yesterday for Adam LaRoche.
Nationals into the Phillies bullpen with Cesar Jimenez, 28-year-old lefty from Venezuela who had been with Seattle most of his big league career.
Fastball slider change. Fastball averages 89. Slider 81. Change 78.
Adam LaRoche 0 for 1 career against him. Nats saw Jimenez for the first time last week in Philly. Adam 0 for 2 tonight, strikeout in the comebacker. The base is still loaded with 1 out and trying to move this out to a 4-run lead or more. That's a fastball, inside corner. Adam surprised by the call. And a swing and a foul tip.
But pretty good hack. He was thinking grand slam. Very aggressive swing. Very short, compact swing. Just a good pitch from Jimenez.
Protect mode on 0-2. Fastball away. Now third base is Worth, who walked. Bryce Harper with that clean single to left. And then Ian Desmond slamming that ball right off home plate for an RBI hit. And Desmond now has 74 batted in. LaRoche has 60. And that one upstairs gets him. 2 outs. Your mission, our commitment. Visit agilitycorp.com. Most RBIs by catchers since the 4th of July. And, of course, that was the day Wilson came back and had that amazing game here. What did he drive in, 7 that day?
Yeah. I mean, he's a 30 and 100 guy if he stays healthy. Middle of the order guy. And like I said, that's not even talking about his game-calling skills.
So a 1-batter appearance for Cesar Jimenez. Ryan Sandberg deeper into his bullpen with Ramos coming up. blow to the Phillies. Already on top by 3. Wilson Ramos about to take on a right-hander, Luis Garcia. Nice to see this offense putting so much pressure on everybody they play.
I mean, it's just been locked in. We say hitting is contagious. I don't know that that's true, but when the guy in front of you is having a good at-bat, the guy behind you is having a good at-bat, and you're putting that kind of pressure on every pitcher to work hard to get the out, now you're wearing guys down, and you're reaping the benefits of it when your swing is right. And there's a lot of guys in this lineup right now whose swing is absolutely positively right.
And one of the other big things about the offense, not just the hits, but the number of extra base hits they're getting now. The home runs, the doubles, hits that do a lot of damage. And that's what Ramos is looking for here against the right-hander Luis Garcia. Wilson, only plate appearance against him, a walk. Breaking ball away. Ramos tonight, home run, ground ball to third.
A 2-pitch guy, fastball slider, fastball averages 94. Ramos good in these situations because he tries to use the whole field.
That's well outside.
.333, 22 RBI. Likes hitting with the bases loaded. Looking for one pitch right down the middle right here. Be very selective. 2-0 with the bases loaded. Looking for nothing but belt high right down the middle.
Averaging an RBI every game against the Phils this year. And that's ball 3. Maybe rein him in for one pitch, or do you let him go here?
Oh, no, you're taking all the way, I say.
Okay.
He hasn't been near.
Guy out of the bullpen hasn't thrown a strike yet.
Yeah, don't help him out. He's on the road. Crowd's loud.
And he gets the strike call on that run back heater to the outside edge.
Well, he's seen 4 pitches. He's picked up the release point. He also knows, look at pitch track. Everything's been away. So if you're Ramos, you're leaning out over the plate right here and maybe looking for a fastball in the outer half.
Ramos in a chopper, third base, and it's foul. Every runner, Worth, Harper, and Desmond will be on the move here. 1 run in. And a 3-2. Ramos up the middle. And that is an infield hit, and 2 runs will score because the ball went straight up in the air and seemingly hung there forever. The Nats lead 6-1.
And right when you least expect it, Bryce Harper in the run till they tag you offense appears out of nowhere. And from up here, I couldn't tell where this ball went. I thought it went to center field, but it went straight up. And watch Bryce Harper, never hesitated coming around third, scores easily on another infield single for the Nats. It's a great look at it from this way. Look how high that went. Great hustle by Harper and a 2-run infield single for the Buffalo.
And 3 RBIs tonight for Wilson Ramos. They're out to check on Garcia. Looked like his foot or his ankle took the brunt of that hot shot.
I'll tell you what, if I'm the rest of the National League, you can have all the home runs in New York, the 13 in the series. You could talk about how well this team's hitting. But when you see something like a ball hit a foot or the mound and go straight up in the air like that and 2 runs score on an infield single, now you start to say, these guys got everything going for them. They're getting all the breaks. Things are going their way. Look out. They got that whole good luck thing going on that they didn't have anything near early in the season. It seemed like everything wasn't going their way. every break was going the other team's way. Now the tide is turned for Davey Johnson's crew.
Wilson Ramos now has 50 RBIs in 66 games. There's Lombardozzi, first and third, 2 outs. Nats have their 8th man batting in this inning, Corey Brown, technically for Ohlendorf, who is still in the game. Nats about to turn at least a 5-run lead over to the bullpen. Upstairs, 1 ball, 1 strike to Lombardozzi, who's 1 for 2 with a bunt base hit. Craig Stammen, I think he's had enough time to get ready. He had to pop up in a hurry. Now he's been warming up for quite some time. Strike 2. Kyle Kendrick is still responsible for Ian Desmond at third base, and he's already been charged with 6 runs.
And all this might get Denard Span 2 more at-bats instead of 1.
Yeah, it could. Lombardozzi out to left center. Freddie Galvis right there. Big inning for the Nats. They tack on 3 more using 4 hits and a walk. 6-1.
For 3 solo tater. Ryan Zimmerman, 3 knocks, his 24th home run of the year. And how about Ross Ohlendorf? Spot start. Steven Strasburg, a little tightness in his right forearm. He's shut down for today's game, but Ross Ohlendorf takes the ball, doesn't care who it's against, when it is, whether he's starting out of the bullpen. And a lot of times when he goes out there, folks, it's just simply guts. And that's how he got through this game today. Didn't have his best stuff, challenged guys with the fastball, elevated it when he needed to, got some big outs, and none bigger than Chase Utley right here with a bunch of guys aboard in the 5th inning. Line drive to center field. So if you could combine Tanner Roark and Ross Ohlendorf and have like Tanner Ross Rollendorf, you would have a good 5th starter for next year.
Well, and I was just thinking of that same thing. Just something to think about for later. If Ross gets the W, those guys are 10-0. Food for thought, but a long way to go. Craig Stammen, top of the 6th inning. Ruiz, Ruff, Ashe. Carlos Ruiz, 2 for 9 career against the Nats right-hander, who runs that fastball in there for a strike. Ruiz RBI hit back in the 1st. And that's been it for the Phils to this point. Another heater. 0-2. Hasn't shown him the slider yet.
You know, I know there's a long way to go in this thing, and it is still a long shot. But tonight's the first night that I came to the ballpark, and it felt like last year. Just the vibe and before the game and the buzz of the crowd, and all of a sudden the games are seriously meaningful. And, you know, everywhere around town, people talking about how this ball club has jumped back into the race, and everybody talking about baseball right now. The team they've been waiting for all year long is here. It's happening.
There's that slider, and he had Ruiz reaching. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Phillies box. A run on 2 hits and a walk in the first. Ruiz, the 1-out RBI. Ollendorf struck out Ruth and Ashe. And then in the 5th, they had back-to-back doubles and a single. Didn't score a run because Bryce Harper threw a runner out at second base. And Galvis had actually doubled, slid off the bag, and Lombardozzi tagged it. Right-hander Zach Miner for the Phils. So Kendrick went 4 1/3, gave up 6 runs on 8 hits. Hurt himself with a couple of walks. He threw 85 pitches and got 13 outs. Stammen runs the fastball, and it looks like Ruiz is going to run it right out of here. Up against the wall. Here's Harper again, and out at second base.
Are you kidding me?
Bryce Harper launching throws all over the ballpark. Played the carom perfectly.
Putting on a display in left field tonight with the arm. Plays it perfectly off the wall. Throws an absolute rocket, 1-hop C to Lombardozzi, who gets the tag down. And Jeff Nelson with a good look. Bang, bang play. Might have got him on the shin. Lombardozzi with a point out to Harper. Don't run on Bryce. Wow, are you kidding me? I mean, 377 feet away from home plate, or throws it into second on a hop to get the out. And Lombardozzi didn't have to push his foot off the bag.
2 outfield assists tonight. Bryce is now second in the league with 12 assists. Only Gerardo Parra of the Diamondbacks has more with 15. This ball, that's a busted bat.
We had a friendly wager in spring training this year that he would have no more than 4 assists in left field. As you look at Lombardozzi slapping the tag on, and don't sleep on how quick he got, and look at the reaction from Harper. I mean,
Span came all the way over to give him some skin. That was outstanding.
These guys are into it, and it is fun to watch. And the reason I said 4 carp is I didn't think guys were going to run on them in left field.
Swing and a miss and a ball in the dirt, and now quickly 2 outs.
And just for the fact that who's going to send a runner on Bryce Harper from second base and 2 outs? But he's gotten to a lot of balls on the line quickly, throwing them in. You just saw that play right there. And he almost got Kyle Kendrick on his double.
Cody Ashe, the hitter. 0 for 1 with a strikeout and a walk.
And the Brewers just scored another run. It's 3-1 Milwaukee.
Yeah, they've been pressuring Matt Latos early in that game tonight. Ashe slaps one left side. Desmond couldn't quite get there. For the Achiever and PNC Bank with our minor league report. Billy Burns named the player of the year in the organization today after hitting .315. We've seen a lot of Taylor Jordan. Went 9-1. Pitcher of the year, and of course got some big league time in with the Nats. Jordan At the big club, 1-3 in 9 starts. And
74 steals, any good?
how about that? And Tony Rendit, second base, the Bob Boone Award. The Bob Boone Award given for the minor leaguer who best demonstrates the professionalism, leadership, loyalty, passion, selflessness, durability, determination, and work ethic required to play the game the Washington Nationals way.
So just an all-around horrible person?
I tell you what, you win that award, you got a pretty good life going on.
It's called the Mother Teresa Award.
Really? Kevin Franzen with a check swing. Zimmerman to cut it and throw him out. The Nats are playing some championship baseball right now. And here comes Harper, who's erased 2 runners. Quest to remind you to smile. It's Friday. Affordable coverage for priceless smiles. Ask your broker about DentaQuest. Those fountains flowing like the Nats offense right now. 6-1 on 9 hits. So keeping the line moving since August 1st. Runs first, home runs first, batting average, on base percentage, slugging percentage, first.
I'll tell you what, I mean, obviously it's the hitters getting the job done in the heat of battle. But whoever the new manager is next year might think about hiring Rick Shue as a hitting coach, because he has done a whale of a job. And if he's not back here, I'm sure the organization is going to keep him in some capacity somewhere. But he has done an amazing job turning this offense around.
John Mayberry Jr. goes to right field. And the new pitcher for the Phillies, already their 4th of the night, Zach Miner, in his 13th ball game.
And give Mike Rizzo a lot of credit. It's hard to fire somebody that's been around, that you feel like is part of the family, that's done a good job for you. But he felt like the message was getting stale. They needed to hear a new voice. And there was a lot of criticism of Mike Rizzo when he did that, saying it was a desperation move. The team's reaching. They're grasping at straws. They're blaming the hitting coach. Well, how'd that work out?
It's been impressive. There's Corey Brown pinch hitting for Craig Stammen. 1-for-1 with a homer. And that was against the Phillies as a pinch hitter. This ball popped up short center. Chase Utley. Top of the order, here comes Denard Span again. And as you made that good point last inning, Fernando Abad now throwing. The Nats able to turn the lineup over in a hurry. so that Span may get at least 2 more at-bats. Denard 1 for 7 career with a triple against Zach Miner. That's box score. And again, we ask you, where do you want to start? Zimmerman 3 for 3. 2-hit nights for Desmond and Ramos. Ryan homer. Wilson Ramos home run. Fastball in.
Interesting. We interviewed Denard after the game, and we said, yeah, we thought it was going to be your last at-bat. Turned out he had another one. He said, I was standing out in the outfield thinking about making a good play, but I was also telling myself, relax. Take a deep breath. And he might be thinking the same thing right now.
Good wood on that one, but out of play.
And having an 18-game hitting streak myself, when you start getting up there, you know, all the reporters are in your locker. You start losing sleep at night thinking about your streak. Because, you know, all of a sudden the attention's on you so much that it's really something that stresses you out. And just talking to Denard yesterday about it, you kind of got a feeling that he was starting to feel it. Because if he's telling himself on defense, hey, this is my last at-bat, relax, take a deep breath, you know that he's thinking about it to where, hey, you know, 15 games, you're just having fun. Yeah, you're swinging it, 17, 18, get to 20 now. It's serious.
2-2 and Span, base hit right over shortstop. 24 in a row with 38 hits, 38 out of 100. And we talked about this yesterday. When you have a hitting streak that spans 100 at-bats, that is a long time. And I think he just looked up and said thank you.
He did. I mean, what else? Let the good times roll, folks. You waited all year for it. What's going on right now is fun. And Denard Span, a perfect example. 24 games and counting. Wow.
Yeah, he only waited till the 6th inning tonight. Here's Ryan Zimmerman. 2 singles, around a homer, 3 runs scored. And he goes high in the air right center, shallow. That's the right fielder Mayberry over to grab it. 2 down. Tonight's Masson word of the day is club. As in ball club or clubbing the baseball.
Or as in where you go after the game.
Text club, get your sleep to 29292 for your chance to win a dinner with Mike Rizzo. Stay tuned all week long for more chances to win with Masson. Jason Worth 0 for 1. 2 walks. 1 for 2 career against Zach Miner, who checks the runner's span. Denard 13 of 19 stealing. They play Worth pretty much straight away in the outfield. Hernandez just a couple of steps toward left center. And then as Span jumped a couple of more steps after taking his lead, Miner felt like he had to throw.
Kind of hopped out there like he was trying to get a huge jump.
Hops out there again, and Worth will fly 1 to center. Hernandez has to come well in to get it. Nats are gone, but Denard Span runs that hitting streak to 24 games. 14, but he's 14-6 career against the Nats. And he'll face a guy coming off perhaps the best game of his life. Gio off a one-hitter in New York, and he's 5-1 career against the Phillies. 6:30 Nats Extra. We'll join you from the booth at 7 for a 7:05 first pitch.
Bryce Harper's 1 for 3, scored a run tonight, but a lot of times you can win a game with your defense. It takes a great defensive player to have that kind of impact in a game, but you look at Bryce Harper right here, going to the corner, making a great throw, and Steve Lombardozzi with a nice job to keep the tag on Galvis to get it out. Kyle Kendrick had to really hustle here to get in with a double, and then watch this one. One hopper off the wall, plays it great, and then throws a one-hop bullet to Lombardozzi. Little fist pump at the end. High fives everywhere. A lot of emotion from the Nats in this game tonight, and some great plays for Bryce Harper in left field.
Top of the 7th inning, Fernando Abad against Freddie Galvis. And then John Mayberry Jr., who came in on the double switch to play right field. So number 37 for Fernando. And Galvis in the air for Jason Worth, who drifts and makes the grab, and Galvis 0 for 2 career against the Nats left-hander. Mayberry coming in. And along with everything else that's going on, the bullpen has responded and done their big-time job lately as well.
They're playing as a unit and a team, and everybody's picking each other up. And it's a beautiful thing to watch if you're a Nats fan.
Abad facing Mayberry for the first time. And Drew's been better. That's a strike on the outside corner. Kinetic North America will track it.
And working the outside half. A little higher than pitch number 1. Gets the call.
And Mayberry. Short center. Denard Span.
You got to keep your feet moving when it's windy. Nicely done.
One more concert for you. It's a week from tomorrow after the night game on Saturday against the Marlins at 21st. Montgomery Gentry will be here. Game tickets start at $10. Go to nationals.com/Nats Live. You must have a valid September 21st ticket for the concert. Closes out the Nats Live free post-game concert series this year. Abad comes out firing. Misses to Cesar Hernandez.
You know, just saying, still a long way to go in this game, a long way to go in the season. But the Nats won the season series against the Reds 4-3. They would own the tiebreaker. Just saying.
Yeah. One ball and 2 strikes. Abad to Hernandez facing each other for the first time. Fastball just missing.
So that means, you know, this is new to everybody, so I feel like we should discuss it, especially with 2 strikes and 2 outs. That's a good call. If they finish with identical records, there would be a playoff game before the one-game playoff game, right?
Yep. Kind of like the Rockies had back in 07. Zimmerman on the run. A discussion to be continued. Maybe the inning will be a little longer when the Nats have the bats. It has been lately. 7th inning stretch brought to you by the Hyundai Clearance Countdown. Visit your local Hyundai dealers this weekend. By sea or by land. Great offense. And the Nats offense the same, out hitting the Phillies 10-7, leading 6-1, bottom of the 7th coming up. Well, Ryan Zimmerman 3 for 3 before he flied out 1 inning ago, almost unstoppable lately.
Yeah, pick a hitter, any hitter for highlights lately, and none hotter than Ryan Zimmerman. 9 home runs. We're looking at number 9 in the month of September, 8 on the road trip, and he's 1 for 1 on the homestand. And who's hotter than Ryan Zimmerman? He's already tied the record for most home runs in a month of September for a Nationals hitter dating back to 2005.
Yeah, his first month in the big league, September of 2005. Freight Railworks do-ups for the Nats at home. Bryce Harper at 280. Ian Desmond starting to hit everywhere now, and 40 RBIs at home. And then Adam LaRoche, who likes the friendly confines here on South Capitol Street. Zach Miner's still pitching. Crowd of 31,325 tonight.
Funny how that high note is a little higher when the team's playing well.
Yeah, it was a little flat for a while. Tomorrow night, Gio and Cole Hamels. On Sunday afternoon, Jordan Zimmerman, right-hander Tyler Cloyd, who's 2-4. So with Strasburg scratched tonight, it could still be a great weekend. Then the Braves are in for 3. That'll be a very interesting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday with all-night games. And then we'll wrap it all up next weekend. The Marlins in Thursday for a 4-game series. Zach Miner's still in the game, and here's Bryce Harper. Harper facing Miner for the first time. Bryce with a base hit last time, and then a thrilling base running play when he scored from second on an infield hit. Bottom of the 4th at Milwaukee. Brewers lead 3-1. They have runners at second and third, 2 outs. We'll keep you posted. And by the way, for Fernando Abad, that was a 9-pitch, 7-strike, top of the 7th. And there's nobody warming up. He may be good for another frame. Davey was able to give Clippard and Soriano a day off yesterday. They might get another one tonight. One, two, three with a couple of fly balls, a grounder. Rollins, Utley, Ruiz in the 8th. 3-1 to Bryce Harper. Look out here. We'll take it. Leading off, he's on for the second time tonight. By the way, Bryce Harper, and this goes back to before his hip problem, or at least the latest version of that. Last 20 games, 14 walks, and he's batting over .320. That'll bring in Ian Desmond.
He just had a solid baseball game tonight. When you talk about everything he's done, the base running, the assists in the outfield, the base hit. I mean, putting on his wrist brace in the middle of the leadoff. He's doing it all.
Yeah, get that thing on there. Ian Desmond with a double, 1 for 2 career against Zach Miner. Two RBIs tonight, a team leading 74. Zimmerman has 73, Worth 71. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Milwaukee failed to score in that 4th inning. Reds coming up, top 5, down 2. Inside to Desmond, counts even, 2-2. Adam LaRoche will bat here in the 7th. And that curveball way outside.
Healthy Bryce Harper, 100% steals right here, even though they're up by 5.
8 steals and 12 attempts on the year.
Well, he might steal anyways. There he goes.
He's running. Desmond in the air near the right field line, and that will drift out of reach. Tonight's copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Washington Nationals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Washington Nationals, who are trying to make it 7 straight tonight. Desmond, line drive, center field, Hernandez, 1 out. And somebody next to me usually says barrel's overrated on a night like Desmond's having.
Well, he barreled up the last one. He just hit it right off the plate. But yeah, he's had his share of lineouts this year. Take them all.
Adam LaRoche and Jason Worth, the only ones of the starting 8 without a hit tonight. And Worth's been on base with a couple of walks, and he scored a run. LaRoche, a lot of walks lately. Pass the ball away. And the ball pulled right side. Backhand, Ruff to the pitcher. Darren Ruff moved from right field to first base on that double switch last inning. And a 3-1 for the second out. Bringing in Wilson Ramos. MLB Ballpark Empire. It's the video game that puts you in the owner's suite. Now available free on iPhone and iPad. Build your stadium. Make the decisions to guide your team to the World Series. Download MLB Ballpark Empire free today. Data and usage rates may apply. Now, I like the part about building your own stadium. I would make sure that the wall would have a yellow line all the way around it, and if it goes over that, it disappears. No controversies.
I'm trying to think what I would do.
And I'd 40,000 seats, created demand. Almost 2 for 3.
I know I wouldn't have that thing that's in Marlins Park out in left center field. That'd be the first thing I wouldn't do.
No lime green. Give me ballpark dark, that dark Kelly green with some red seats, and we're in business. Blue seats as well. 0-1 to Ramos. And if I could afford it, I'd bring back the $5 bleachers.
Indoor, domed, outdoor.
Outdoor.
Retractable roof.
Too expensive.
It's a video game. You're not paying for it.
Well, I would if you're building your own umpire, I'm assuming they give you a budget you might have to work with.
No. Just build it.
No balls, 2 strikes to Ramos, who has to try to pull that outside pitch on an 0-2 count. And the Nats are gone in the 7th.
As a guy with no pop, I would have the fences at 250 all the way around.
As a guy with a lot of money, I'd buy you out. 3-wire systems, the leader in reducing wasteful spending through disruptive technology. Old Glory flying proudly tonight. Heroes Day in D.C. and the Nats living up to some advanced billing as well, coming back to town with a 6-game winning streak. They've gone 23-9 in their last 32, leading big here. 6 outs worth of work to do for the bullpen. Fernando Abad against Jimmy Rollins, top of the 8th. Rollins against Abad career, 3 for 6 from the right side. LaRoche and Ramos getting a good look at it, and Adam LaRoche is there. On 10 pitches, Fernando Abad has 4 outs.
Now, Jimmy Rollins has popped up 4 times tonight. 2 to Adam LaRoche, 1 to Ryan Zimmerman in foul ground. That was a big out for Ohlendorf in the 5th inning. The first time up, he popped up to center field.
Next up will be Chase Utley.
Rough night.
Singled first time up, struck out and lined out to center since. He was the last big out Ross Ohlendorf got with those 2 runners aboard back in the 5th. The Nats would go on to score 3 in the bottom of the inning. And Eric Davis may be getting some 8th or 9th inning work.
Yeah, we didn't even think that kid we had on TV the other night could have been an Eric Davis fan. He said he was a Tyler Clippard fan.
Yeah.
He could have been an Eric Davis fan. We might have just totally missed that.
Nats bullpen leading the league in goggles.
There's Eric Davis.
There he is.
Or is that Tyler Clippard?
Swing and a miss. And Fernando Abad, 5 quick outs. Mercedes-Benz will track this.
Everything on the outer half. 94 miles an hour, using the heat. Chase Utley late.
Chase Utley 0 for 3 career against Abad, who now faces Carlos Ruiz. Left-hander Joe Sabry for the bottom of the 8th. See the ball game in Baltimore last night where Mariano Rivera got a save, but they didn't give him the save. They gave him the win.
What was that all about?
The reliever before him was so bad, coughed up a big lead, and the official scorer gave Rivera the win. And that's a guy who would probably rather have a save. Much talked about after that game last night, but that's a rare ruling that an official scorer has every right to invoke if he feels like the pitcher of record didn't deserve the win. Very interesting. Doesn't happen often. But happening very often, outs by Fernando Abad. 6 in a row, and this ball game into the bottom of the 8th. leading 6-1. And the last 2 outs by Fernando Abad. He would strike out Chase Utley on the heater away. He would fly out in routine fashion Carlos Ruiz after this.
It all happened a little bit faster than this last inning. And he goes back to the dugout. Davey Johnson said, "Fernando, you look marvelous."
He did. 17 pitches, 13 strikes to get 6 outs. So one of those strikeouts giving the Nats 4 on the night, actually 5 now. And Toyota K's for Kids, $37 times 5 to the Children's Inn at the National Institutes of Health. Thanks to our DC area Toyota dealers helping children and their families with Toyota K's for Kids. 27-year-old former Rice Owl Joe Savory for the Phillies, making his 13th appearance with a 1.84 ERA. Lombardozzi, Scott Hairston for Abad, and then Denard Span gets another at bat.
Fastball slider change. Fastball average is 90.
Lombardozzi from the right side now. Steve tonight 1 for 3. Pop up to second. Bunt base hit in the 4th, and a fly ball to left in the 5th.
And a big tag at second base. Heads up play. Little things that he does that you just can't teach.
Nissan tracks this one. Then the 0-2 that Lombardozzi, in emergency fashion, hacks off to the right side. Scott Hairston. Big home run in New York, in the pinch, in the clutch. He'll be next. And if you make it to postseason, a guy like Scott Hairston can be a crucial element of a ball club in a matchup situation late in the game.
Professional hitter.
Lombardozzi trying to fight through an 0-2 count here. How about that? Great sound off the bat. And what else is new? Steve Lombardozzi, 2 for 4 tonight. Batting average back up over 250. And he's sitting right around 300 his last 41 games.
I mean, Davey Johnson can't lose. I mean, he can stick Rendon's name in a hat, Lombardozzi's name in a hat, and just draw one out, and you're going to get a good game from your second baseman. Rendon had a nice series against the Mets. Swung the bat well, got some big hits, and then Lombardozzi with a start here tonight. A little 2 for 4. Some nifty plays at second base. Getting the job done once again.
Here's Scott Hairston, who hit the 9th inning home run to cap off the 6-3 Tuesday night win at New York. Corey Brown had been announced. Terry Collins switched to the left-hander, Tim Burdack. And Scott Hairston took him a yard. That turned a 4-3 game into a 6-3 win. He has never faced this left-hander.
Yeah, he didn't like that call. He thought it was down.
Scott's always done well against the Phillies, too. A lot of ABs as a Met. So he's got to fight through 0-2 like Lombardozzi did. Nothing happening to change the Milwaukee-Cincinnati game. Reds coming up top of the 6th, trailing 3-1 at Miller Park. Drew Storen now. Eric Davis took a seat, and Drew Storen, it appears, for the 9th. Phillies will have 5, 6, 7 due up. And that off-speed pitch diving away from Scott Hairston. 1 out. Kinetic North America tracks it.
Pretty good pitch right here. Just turned it over. A little change up away, 84. See the grip right there. Pressure on the outside of the baseball with the last 3 fingers. Circle grip. Good pitch.
Denard Span against Savory. 1 for 2 career. Lombardozzi edging his way off the bag at first. And this one will be slicing toward the left field line. Foul ground and caught by Freddie Galvis with a good play right on the rail.
That was a great play. I mean, how many times have you seen a guy go right there in Nats Park and make a play? Not a lot of foul ground. Fence approaching fast. Kind of jumped into the fence and caught the ball all in one motion. Great play by the Phillies left fielder. Look at this. I mean, that was in the stands, folks. It doesn't get much better than that. Very athletic play by Galvis. Wow.
Ryan Zimmerman, 3 for 4. 2 singles around a home run. Facing Joe Savory for the first time. 1 ball, 1 strike. When the Nats went to Philadelphia to start the road trip, Ryan Zimmerman was hitting .279 with 15 home runs. He's now in the .280 range with 24 home runs. Mid-Atlantic Sports Report back Monday. Tom, Dave, Mel, Phil. All the latest Nats news and a recap of the weekend. Weekly stock reports as well on whose stock is rising and vice versa. Monday on Masson takes you right up to Nats Extra before the Nats take on the Braves.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out whose stock is rising right now.
And a chopper left side. Cody Ashe to cut it off with a reach down to the turf. Nats are gone. Here we go. Top of the 9th inning. Drew Storn on. Washington 3 outs away.
Homers on the road trip, and Bob said see you later on 6 of the 21 homers. And as we were explaining the AT&T fact of the game, it turned into a little something like this, and we're going to call it our Kia drive of the game.
Oh my. See you Wilson Ramos.
Drive the
Just
Game is
jacks one
brought to
right out
you
of
by
here.
Kia. Visit kia.com. Learn why Kia is one of the fastest growing car brands in America. And on cue, Wilson Ramos with his 14th home run of the year.
That sequence, the pinnacle of an otherwise mediocre career. Thank you, guys.
Sell yourself short. Come on.
All right, a long career.
30 years in the big leagues. Are you kidding me? It's fantastic.
Thank you. Well, and these boys keep this up. It could be one of the most fun ever. We'll see. Could turn out that way. Top of the ninth, Drew Storn against Darren Ruff, Cody Ashe, and then a pinch hitter. Well, we could see a pinch hitter before then. We'll see. One pitch, fly ball, span back, one out. I mean, this bullpen, nothing since the sixth inning. And that was a jam Craig Stammen worked out of.
And I know fans are thinking this at home, and I'm sure the whole first base dugout thinks it. I think it. Every time a ball goes into center field, it's an out. If it's in the ballpark, it's an out. And that's not a luxury a lot of ball clubs have with their center fielder defensively. And we talked about it yesterday. Coaches, managers vote on the Gold Glove Award, and hopefully the opponents are seeing what we saw this year. You can't vote for your own guys, so Davey Johnson and the staff here in D.C. can't vote for Denard Span, but there has been nobody better with the glove in center field that we've seen this year. Obviously, we get a small sample size. We see a team for 3 or 4 games and then move on, but see Denard Span every day. But just the routes he's taken, the jumps he's got, anticipating the baseball, not taking his offense onto defense, which is a big thing when you're struggling offensively that a lot of people don't talk about with Denard. When he was scuffling, he still was taking outs away in center field. And to me, that's what a Gold Glove represents.
That ball hit hard to left. Cody Ashe. Kid's on base for the third time tonight with a walk and 2 hits. And we mentioned a couple of hours ago that Dominic Brown might be back in the Phillies lineup tomorrow. They will give him a pinch hit at bat here on his road back to health. He's been bothered by an Achilles that's had him out of action for several weeks. If he's in there tomorrow, he's got a tough assignment. He's got to face Gio Gonzalez. Cole Hamels for the Phils, who's beaten the Nats 14 times. Well, Dominic Brown leading the league in home runs early. He still has 27, 4th in the league. But he's only played in 123 games now, so he's missed the equivalent of about 3.5 weeks. He is 1 for 4 career against Drew Storm. He misses with the slider, 1-1. Dominic Brown just turned 26 on September 3rd. He's got a good future ahead of him. A breakout year this season. And the injuries derailed it, but still very impressive. Fastball outside from Drew Storm, 3-1. Freddie Galvis, the number 8 hitter, is on deck. That's right on the edge. Ball 3, strike 2. Challenge fastball, double play ball, could turn out the lights. It's over for the Phils, and the Nats have won 7 in a row.
24-9 in their last 33, 9 of their last 10. And if the Brewers hang on, 4.5 back in the wild card, they are crashing the party, folks.
The Nationals win their 78th game of the year, and we've got more from a very happy Nationals Park.